Welcome back to the Spirit, Mind and Soul podcast. Today I'm speaking with Nikki, my fellow Glaswegian girl. Nikki owns a gym in Glasgow. She will be talking about her journey into how that business came to be. She has made some brave, bold moves in her life that I think you'll find very inspiring, but also does talk about an abusive relationship in her life that left her feeling broken and very lost. However, Nikki's story overall is very motivational, very inspiring, and I think it's amazing to see what she's achieved in her life, no matter, what she's been through. So I hope that you do get value from this episode. I hope you enjoy listening to Nikki's story. I'd love if you haven't already, if you could just hit that subscribe button because it's helping this little channel grow. And here's Nikki. Thanks so much for joining the Spirit, Mind and Soul podcast. I'm looking forward to getting stuck in and hearing more about your story and what's led you to doing the work that you're doing now. So if you just want to tell us a little bit about you and what life was like. I know we're going to go into a significant time in your life. So can you tell us what you were like before that, your personality, what life was like before things got a bit tough and challenging for you?
Yeah, definitely. And thank you very much for having me on today. So previously, I think I'd always been fairly self-assured, probably not the most confident, but I'd always been, I knew who I was. I stood up for myself, and I was just typical, normal sort of person. And I liked exercising. I liked keeping myself fit. That's always been a sort of outlet for me. Something that I've always actively enjoyed doing. Um, so yeah, I think it's always been a passion. Even from when I was a child, I was always very sporty into various things like swimming, diving, gymnastics. I done all them at quite a high level. And then just as you get older, you fall away from all your hobbies, don't you?
Yeah, you do. And you try and become, or you have a sort of a normal sort of job or what
Yeah,
seems normal. Yeah, yeah, you do.
and you get into when you start, I suppose, drinking and
Yeah.
hanging out with friends and boyfriends and all that kind of thing. You just sort of lose all that, and you just go along with the crowd a little bit. So
Hmm.
I think you just lose the root of who you are a wee bit
Yeah.
because you're finding
Mhm.
out things, aren't you, about yourself?
Yep. Yeah. And I think sometimes for me anyway, you can suppress stuff. You think that you're dreaming too big or it's not realistic and you start suppressing stuff and you, like you say, you go with the crowd and you want to fit in, don't you?
Yeah.
So I totally feel that. So what did you do once you left school? What did you go on to do work-wise?
I left school and went straight to university. Studied marketing. I only
Mhm.
went to uni so that I could move into halls of residence because I wanted the whole uni party vibe. Like I
Yeah.
wanted to experience that. When I left uni, I actually was really lucky and I got a job within a month within marketing.
Mhm.
And I was just thrown right into a sort of, I worked 8 till 5:30, but actually I was going in the office at 7 in the morning and I wasn't leaving till seven, half seven at night. So it was very full on.
Mhm.
And I remember after about a year and a half, I thought, is this it? Like, is this all there is now? Like,
Yeah.
am I just doing this until I retire? And one day I got up and I went out and I booked a ticket to Australia on my own.
Oh,
I'd never
amazing.
thought about it before. Like my parents had been like, "Are you going to go traveling? Your sister's done it," and I was like, "Nah, it's not for me." And one morning I woke up and I was like, "Screw it! I just need to go and live a little."
Mhm.
Booked a ticket, and then the following Monday I handed in my notice at work. And
Wow, that's amazing.
so,
And you
um,
just went off on your own?
yeah,
Mhm.
which was scary because I probably at that point I've always been self confident, but I wasn't the most confident in social settings, I would say.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that really brought it out of me because when you go backpacking on your own, and like my sister came out and joined me for a wee while and stuff, and she sort of taught me, like showed me the ropes basically of
Mhm.
how to do it. But now, after doing that experience, I would just be quite happy going into any situation on my own because I know I'll make friends, I'll chat to
Yeah.
someone. So it definitely changed me doing that.
Yeah, and that's amazing for anyone who's because it's taking that first little step is the hardest step, I think. But you just waking up and just booking the ticket and not, overthinking it, or because I think that it's always that sort of initial, oh, I don't know, should I do it, shouldn't I not? Where do you think that came from for you, just to think, I'm just going to book it?
I don't know. I'm a wee bit impulsive, I suppose, at times. Like I
Hmm.
think I just have a bit of a, oh, screw it. Like what will happen. Because I kind of, right, one of my wee things that I live by is I always base my decisions on, am I going to regret not doing this? And I
Hmm.
think if the answer is, yeah, you're going to regret it, then it means I
Hmm.
need to do it if I'm scared or
Yeah.
not. Like,
Yeah.
because a lot of the time it's just fear that would hold me back from things, but I just kind
Hmm.
of go, I just need to embrace that and do
Yeah.
it anyway, sort of thing.
I always say dance with the fear, because I think that's the
Yeah,
thing. When people see when people see other people doing things, whether it's going off traveling, or promotion, or putting themselves out there in whatever way, or public speaking, all that type of thing, they still feel fear. We feel fear no matter what. I like to say dance with the fear, because you're going to feel it anyway, but it's what you do with that fear. You can use it to drive you, or use it as an excitement. It doesn't need
yeah,
to hold us back. It can be a sort of an adrenaline to get us to keep going to where we want to be.
definitely. And I like that because it's exhilarating. See when you do something that you were scared to do. Like I love
Mm.
talking about that time that I went traveling, and I still look back at it as one of the best experiences of my life because probably the whole time around it, I was a little bit like, "What am I doing here? Like this is
Mhm.
a bit mental."
Mhm.
But I I done it, and I'm so proud that I went and just gave it a shot.
Mhm.
Um, and there was obviously some things like some areas where it wasn't fun, or I picked the wrong hostel, or I didn't meet people that I vibed
Yeah.
with. But the beauty of it was you would wake up the next morning and go, "I'll go somewhere else." Then
Mhm.
because there was no
Yeah.
set plan.
Yeah. And I think the only overthinking that we need to do is, like you say as well, am I going to regret this? That's the only, it shouldn't be what if this happens, what if that happens, because these things don't normally happen. And we should be also thinking of the, what if it goes right, or what if I have the best time ever, but it's not. Our default is always the, what if it goes wrong, or,
Yeah,
and things do. I've done some traveling as well, and little things happen. Like I went to New York and didn't have much cash on me, and my bank card wouldn't work. In New York, we're going back a long time before digital banking and things, but things like that. And I just had to work it out, and it was fine in the end. And it's a story.
yeah,
Like everything worked out fine, and I think things do always work out okay. It's just it's never sort of. It's never the way you think this is how it's going to be, and you kind of need to let go of control of, because you don't know what the things that are going to happen, but it's always okay.
yeah, definitely. And it does. I think I probably before I've been quite an anxious person at times, although I've not felt anxious or like really shown anxiety. Do you know what I mean? Like I probably have been like, right, I need to be on time. I need to make sure I've got all my documents, I've got everything. Like I've always been a wee bit like that. And the older
Hmm.
I've got, I'm just a bit more like, who cares if I'm 5 minutes late, or who cares if I've
Hmm.
not looked up the route beforehand? I'll find it.
Yeah.
Do you know? And I'm sort of now a bit more like it'll all work itself out.
Yeah, yeah, that's the best attitude to have, because we can overthink things too much, and there's really no need. Just have your goal, go and do that thing, take that first step. And then I think also confidence comes once you do one thing, confidence comes to go and do other things. And then you start dreaming bigger, you start thinking, oh, I can go and do this now.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm glad you're a good example then of someone who's just done that, and it did all work out perfect. And I
Yeah.
know things, you came across a challenging time in your life when you were in a relationship. When did that unfold? Was that after Australia, when you came home?
Yeah, it was about 5 years later. So I was 28. Obviously, everyone's out there trying to find someone.
Hmm.
Initially, thought I'd found someone lovely. Um, there was probably quite early on some quite serious red flags, but I didn't trust myself enough to just.
Hmm.
I sort of was like, all right, okay, maybe that, and I sort of excused some behaviour. Um, before you know it, we were 3 months down the line and I was engaged. So, it followed a typical pattern.
Yeah.
And then I felt very stuck and trapped. And then I had a mortgage, and then I had, all these things. And all of a sudden I was in a situation that I really couldn't find my way out of. With
Hmm.
Because I think a lot of people had said quite early on, like, that'll never work. If you've got engaged too soon, that'll never work. And I sort of felt like I was trying to prove a point, like, well, I'll show you this, I'll make this work. So I sort
Yeah.
of I was stubborn as well. My own stubbornness held me back a little bit, I think, rather than just going, do you know what, I've made a mistake, this wasn't right, like you guys were right, that sort of thing. So ended up in that situation for about 4 years. Suffered a lot. Like it's taken me a long time to be able to say that that was an abusive relationship. I couldn't admit to that for a long, long time afterwards. But at the end of the day, it shaped who I am now.
Yeah.
But at the end of that, I managed to get myself out of it, and but my self worth and my confidence were on the floor. Like they were is like I didn't believe I was ever going to be happy again. I didn't want to socialise with anyone. Like I had a group of friends who were great and stuff like that, but you know that way I would do anything to I just wanted to curl away. I just wanted to like protect myself and like, you know, that kind of thing. And I had just no level of self worth whatsoever. And that's what's led me to where I am now because I've worked really hard to just find myself again. Do you know that way? I think that was the thing that annoyed me the most. I was like, I don't know who I am anymore. I would look in the mirror and be like, I don't even recognise who's looking back at me. Like physically, I'd changed a lot. Like I was overweight, I was really unfit. I wasn't taking care of myself. Like I've always been someone that would like do my makeup, do my hair, make sure my nails are painted. I'd stop just bothering because I just stopped caring, I suppose, because I didn't feel like I was worth it.
Yeah.
So, and I thought, you know what? I need to get me back. I need to find out who I am again a wee bit. Do you know?
Yeah. And say just going back to that, was there a time when you started to think that something's not right with me, I'm not feeling, or I've lost confidence, or I'm, feeling that sense of low self-worth? Was there a point that you thought, a sort of, I guess a light bulb for moment where you've thought that?
It was constant over the 4 years. It just slowly got chipped away.
Right.
So it started quite slow, I suppose, in terms of wee things would happen, and I would brush them off and go, "Oh, it was just a one-off," and you know, you would sort of give them an excuse or a reason for it, and but then actually your behaviour would change just ever so slightly the next time, so that that argument didn't come up again. And a big thing was within it was jealousy. So I think on a subconscious level, I started making myself more unattractive. I started making myself less chatty to people and less friendly because that caused a lot of problems. Like so, my personality was I was dampening it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just, as someone who works with the subconscious mind, I love that you brought that up because we're not consciously aware of that. So, like you just said, you're now aware that
Yeah.
subconsciously you're, making yourself, I guess, less attractive so that you're not getting the jealousy from your partner. And we do that. Our subconscious thinks, right, okay, how can we, our subconscious is running 24/7. Subconsciously our mind's trying to help us resolve the situation so that if it's making us feel unworthy or any feelings it's not very pleasant to feel, our subconscious will find a solution, which isn't always a good solution for us.
And it definitely has a big impact. I think
Yeah.
you don't realise you're changing until you look
Yeah.
back, or you maybe start realising that things have changed, but you're also trying to protect yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what was the pivotal moment then where you got yourself out of that situation? How did that happen?
So I'd been wanting to do it for a long, long time, but I felt like I couldn't. Felt trapped in a sort of financial sense, and you know, I just didn't really know what was going to happen. And during this time, I lived with almost pretty much daily threats of violence, and I'd got to the point where I was numb to hearing them, numb to what was going on around about me. Like I just didn't care anymore. I was like, "Give me your worst," you know, and it was fine. But actually, there was one phrase in particular I used one day as a threat, and it was new, and it tapped into my greatest fear that I have, and I think when I just went, "Oh, no, that's crossed a line. Like that's crossed a line. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's funny how I was so numb to all the other threats that
Mm-hmm.
came my way and everything that was, but there was this one word, and because it's just something that's been a fear of mine since I was a child, I thought,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I can't live like that.
Yeah.
And I just made I says I'll lose everything. I was like, because everything was in my name and everything. So I was like, I'll go bankrupt. I said, it's just me and the dog. I'll leave, take
Yeah.
everything you want. I'm out. And I just was like, I was prepared to just completely destroy everything I had built up
Mm-hmm.
to get away.
Yeah. What would you say then for anyone who is currently in a situation like that? Is there anything that obviously that something's been said then, but do you think you would have come out of that eventually? Something would have happened? Do you feel that there would have been another point?
I hope so. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. It's so easy to be in it and you go, no, if this happens again, I'm going to leave. But you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You keep excusing it, and I suppose in a way that becomes that environment's became your normal, and it's
Mm-hmm.
really scary to even think about leaving that because what are you going to do? And remember, they've chipped away at your self confidence and your self worth till you don't feel like you deserve anything better than what you're getting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you 100% do.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody deserves that, and I think it's just about don't wait until you get something that's like your sort of, so that was the sort of straw that broke the camel's back for me, right? This
Mm-hmm.
particular event.
Mm-hmm.
But don't wait on that. As soon
Yeah.
as you see the red, like, just, you need to just go, this is, because the thing is, it only gets worse. It's
Mm-hmm.
never going to get, this situation's never going to get better. It only escalates, and the behaviours and stuff like that had been escalating throughout the 4 years. They progressively got worse. They progressively got shorter between all the events. It was just
Mm-hmm.
got to the point where it was constant. So I would say to people, if you're in that situation or you recognise any part of that, like, you just need to pull the plug straight away and
Mm-hmm.
don't think about what you're going to lose, or because a lot of the time it will be the people that are in that situation, whether it's the woman or the man that's being abused. They've got the stuff that they've built up. They're going to lose. You just need to walk away. You'll build it again.
Yeah.
You'll build back better.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing point what you've just said because I've never been in that type of situation, an abusive relationship. I've spoken to people who have, and I know that they've described similar to what you feel, and I know even just me, just even being in relationships in the past and wanting to leave and thinking I'm never gonna. This is the best. You because that's the best you've experienced or that's all you know, you
Mm-hmm.
think that's it. It's not, you're never going to get any better. And I suffered with low self-worth and confidence as well. And I thought I'm never going to get any better. And that can keep you there. So I
Yeah.
can't even imagine being in an abusive relationship and having those feelings of low self-worth and thinking that this is it. I'm not worthy of anyone else or any better. But yeah, I think that is maybe, maybe acknowledging that and maybe seeing other people like yourself as the example
Mm-hmm.
that you can, because we're going to obviously go on to talk about the life that you've got now, and the relationship that you have now as well. But yeah, I think that is a big thing, is acknowledging that yeah, we can. There's so many examples out there of women that have left and gone on to find their worth, their self-belief, confidence. You get it all back. It's all still in there.
And even it doesn't even need to be. I fully left and thought, do you know what? I'll never get in another relationship again.
Yeah,
I just need to find confidence within myself.
yeah,
I think you've got to, because like you say, you never go. You've just been trodden on. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
you've just been like squashed down, but you're
Mm-hmm.
still there, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody can build back from it. But
Yeah.
you're only going to do it once you remove yourself from the situation.
The way I talk about it is your self-worth, you're born with it turned all the way up. But as time goes on, it could be childhood and school partners can chip away and it starts to come down, but it's still in there. You just need to
Mhm.
turn it all the way back up.
Yeah.
So then what was the next steps after that? Did you have to take some time just for you, just to figure out who you were again?
Yeah, I think I didn't. I think I just started, yeah, going. What do I want? What do I want to do? And one of the
Mhm.
things that I'd lost through that process was going to the gym. I used to
Mhm.
prior to that. I used to go to the gym 4 days a week religiously. Um, I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. But I used to go. I really enjoyed it. Like I say, it was an outlet for me, and I wasn't able to go during that time.
Mhm.
So literally within a month, I was back. I had my gym membership, and I was back doing what I enjoyed doing.
Mhm.
And that was the sort of first step. And then as a result of that, I started just feeling a little bit better, because when you feel that you're being proactive and doing something, you start looking after yourself a little bit more. So
Mhm.
both in terms like physically, like, all right, okay, I'll spend a wee bit of time and do my hair, but also I'm going to eat well. I'm going to
Yeah.
actually, like, nourish my body, I suppose,
Yeah.
and those kind of things. Then COVID hit, and that was sort of, I didn't even really mind it. I think because I needed the quiet time, I needed time to sit
Mhm.
and figure myself out again. So,
Mhm.
see, to be honest, like I feel like I was all right with that. I needed that time on my own anyway.
Yeah.
But during it, I was like getting frustrated because I just got my exercise back, and now I couldn't go to the gym. So I was trying to do things on my own in the house, but I just didn't really know what I was doing, and I was getting a
Mhm.
bit like, this is pointless. So I'd been following someone on Instagram for a wee while who was a personal trainer and a coach. And I decided one day just to reach out. He was doing like an online program, and I thought, "Do you know what? I don't have much money, but I want to try this because I know it's something that makes me feel good. Like, I valued it, so I
Yeah.
spent the money and I signed up to it. And literally, apart from the Australia thing, like the Australia thing's my second best experience I've ever done. Doing
Mhm.
that coaching was the best decision I've ever made, because my life has transformed completely. Like, and I can't say that. It sounds dead cheesy, right? But
Mhm.
it's true. My life
Yeah.
couldn't be more different.
Yeah, it
Although,
doesn't sound cheesy. Yeah, totally. No.
yeah.
So tell us why then. So tell us how that what came about when you were doing that course then. How did that change things?
I think it just gave me like a sense of purpose. I got my body back, which was something that I'd wanted. So we were looking at the nutrition side of things, we were looking at the exercise and lifestyle and all that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So I was working with my coach, and it was just extremely encouraging, motivating. I remember sort of being like, I suppose I was in that state where I would apologise for loads, and he was like, "Why are you apologising? Like, you're trying." And it gave me a focus. I went all in. Like, I just completely was like, right, I'm doing this. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it properly. And within 3 months, my physique, my body, my fitness levels had all improved massively.
Mhm.
And I felt a lot better. I felt a lot more confident when I looked in the mirror. That was me. I sort of see who I was again. Like, I was like, oh,
Mhm.
there she is. I recognise her. Like,
Mhm.
because I do think it's not all about vanity, but I think
Yeah.
confidence comes because you start going like, oh, I can do that actually. Like, I'm capable of watching what these people are doing. Like, because that way,
Mhm.
sometimes you watch what people are doing exercise wise, and you're like, I couldn't do that. And then all of a sudden, a few months later, there you are doing it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that gives you a confidence in itself. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
um, so yeah, within a few months, I was like I say, totally different, doing things I'd never thought possible. And then actually, the relationship between myself and my coach grew a little bit as well,
Mhm.
and we are now together, still together, like nearly
Yeah.
4 years later.
Mhm.
So that was just lovely because I wasn't expecting it, I wasn't looking for it, and it developed from basically what was a friendship, you know.
Yeah.
And I think because it developed so naturally, I felt quite safe in that relationship where I'd not felt safe in other relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And just like going back to what you've said about obviously the exercise, because you said there about it makes you want to start eating better and looking after yourself in other ways. And I actually was in an unhappy relationship, and it just so happened that the company I worked for at the time was doing a charity half marathon, and I signed up to it just because I like to challenge myself, and not because I was looking to get fit. I just had two children back to back, so I definitely wasn't my best working full time looking after two toddlers, but I signed up to this and started training for this half marathon. And I thought, well, if I'm going to get in shape, I might as well start eating properly as well.
yeah.
And I got into the best shape that I'd ever been in, but it also allowed me to see clearly. It allowed my mind got better, not just my body and my health, but my mind as well. And I ended up leaving that relationship because I could sort of see it. I wasn't in it so much. My mind was so much clearer.
Yeah,
So I think exercise is not obviously good for the body, but it's just your whole well-being and mental everything. Amazing. Yeah.
100%. And it's, I know it sounds like cliche to say it, but it's not until you do it that you
Mhm.
experience it. Do you know,
Mhm.
like it. A lot of people I work with now, like they come to me suffering from anxiety and depression, and
Mhm.
some of them are even on medication for things like that, and they can get off of the medication, or they just start feeling a lot better. Like their sort of their mindset changes, and the sort of physical symptoms that they're getting just change because they've got a different outlook now, and they
Mhm.
get that little buzz from doing.
Yeah.
You just
Yep.
get it from being outside, even, or just knowing that you're actually looking after yourself is
Mhm.
huge.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and that was life changing for me, and I was the same. I joined. I thought I would never go back. I will always have a coach, like a fitness coach, or I've got a treadmill, or go to the gym, or just something to keep up that fitness. I think like you've proved that it completely changed your life. It completely changed mine as well.
Yeah.
So how did that lead you into the work that you do now? Because obviously you did it for yourself first, and then now you do that and you help other people. So how did that come about?
It was really just a chance conversation with Chris one day, like early on. So by this point, we're in a relationship, maybe 2 months down the line. He's obviously done this for like a decade, and I remember saying to him like, "Oh, I'd always wanted to be one of those people that would like take exercise classes, or one of those people in a gym that worked in a gym." I says, "But
Yeah.
I just don't see myself in that position. Like I've never seen how I would fit in that position, I suppose."
Mhm.
And he just went, "Oh, I think you'd be really good at it, actually." And the next day, again, my wee impulsive brain came over. And the next day, I phoned him and I was like, "Right, I found a course. So I've just joined it." And I signed up for my level 2 fitness instructor, level 3 personal trainer. And it
Mhm.
was just from that one conversation, because I'd
Yeah.
always seen these people working in these environments and went, "I wish that could be me," but I never had
Mhm.
the belief that I could be that person. And
Mhm.
then see, because he believed in me and said, "Oh, I could totally see you like that,"
Yeah.
that was enough for me to go, "Screw it, what's the worst that could happen? Let me just do the qualification." And I literally signed up to the qualification. I still had a corporate job, which I was very successful in. I was doing really well in. And I just thought, I'm just going to do it to prove something to myself that
Mhm.
I can learn about this thing,
Mhm.
and it started off like that. Like it was very much, I'm just doing it for my own knowledge and for my own little
Yeah.
reasoning.
Mhm.
And then I started, like, I would tell people I was doing it. Like I would chat to like neighbours or friends and stuff like that. And I was like, "Oh, I'm doing my course." And a few of them actually said to me, "Oh, well, will you coach me then?"
Yeah.
So I started just in my garden, doing little fitness sessions with some of my
Mhm.
neighbours, and it was a way for me to try it out and see what I thought. And
Yeah.
one day Chris went to me, "Why don't you make an Instagram page for your coaching?" And I was like, "Oh, I couldn't do that because I've never been one to like cameras, being on like being on video, or see doing something like this
Mhm.
would have been my worst nightmare, right?"
Uh-huh.
And I was like, "No, no, I can't have an Instagram page." And then one day I set it up, and again, the first night I set it up, somebody contacted me and says, "Oh, will you PT me?"
Mm. That's
And it was somebody I
amazing.
knew, but it was still such a nice wee boost.
Yeah.
And it's all came about because every step of the way I've had Chris there sort of encouraging me, just going, not telling me to do these things, but just sort of going, "Oh, you can do that." And then I
Mhm.
go, "Okay." See, when you've got someone to believe in you,
Yeah.
it makes a
Yeah.
difference. And
Yeah.
that's effectively now what I'm doing for my clients.
Yeah, amazing. And it does, it's just having that sort of, not doing it all on your own, just having that sort of, someone to lean on, or someone to keep you motivated, and like you say, to believe in you, because that self-belief comes from within as well, but sometimes we don't see it. It's like I
No.
say, we don't always see that magic within us. Sometimes it takes someone else to help pull it out of us.
Yeah.
So what's the work that you're doing now? What's the type of people that you work with, and what do you tend to see? You know, what are the sort of issues or problems that seem to arise?
So at the minute, I'm a coach and a personal trainer. I've got my own gym. I tend to work with people that are looking to basically get themselves back. I do seem to attract that kind of person. You know, these are people that similar to me. Like I suppose they, you
Mm-hmm.
know, they're stuck in a bit of a rut and they don't know how to get out of it, and I'm there to help them get out of it. I've had people that
Mm-hmm.
have came to me and they've been dieting for like 10 years. Like, you know, they've tried Slimming World, Weight Watchers multiple times,
Mm-hmm.
Herbalife. They've, you know, joined up to the gym, quit the gym, joined the gym, quit the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And they contact me, and a lot of them are saying like, this is the last thing I'm trying. And it's like, let's just do it. But see, all I do with them is I strip back. It's like, let's take away all the noise, because at the minute there's so much information out there that's like, you should be doing this, you should be intermittent fasting, you should be eating this amount, you should not be eating any of this. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're a bit like, what am I meant to be doing? Like, you're going around in circles, and it's so I'm there to strip away all that noise and tell them this is where you need to focus your attention for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And then I'm literally just there. Basically, I call myself their little cheerleader in their pocket, because I'm on their phone just going, how are you getting on? You can do it. Yes, you can. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's just someone basically believing in that they can do it. And I've had
Yeah.
clients that have lost 10 stone.
Amazing.
Like, and but see, the biggest difference in all of my clients, regardless of how much weight they lose and stuff like that, is their confidence. Like, I've had clients that have went and cut their hair short because they finally feel like confident enough to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Or they'll finally go out in the summer wearing a strappy top,
Mm-hmm.
because, or wearing shorts, or, you know, they feel like, and they might not be exactly where they want to be yet, because they're all
Mm-hmm.
still on a journey, but they feel so much better
Yeah.
because they're doing something about it, and they've also
Yeah.
got someone telling them how great they are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting what you just said. You know, they're not where they want to be yet they've still got that confidence, and I think it's because you know you've got that support, and because you're doing something about it.
Yep.
You're already on that journey, and that in itself brings confidence, knowing that you know that you've got it. It's in the bag. You know that you're going to get to that goal.
Because that's the thing, the most difficult part is getting started. See, once
Mhm.
you've started and you've got a little bit of progress, you then,
Mhm.
like you say, you know it's in the bag. At that point, it's just a case of time passing to
Mhm.
be and consistently keeping doing it.
Mhm.
The hardest part is actually that first step, going,
It really is.
this is scary, but I need to try it. And
Mhm.
two, like, I just need to feel that fear and do it anyway, kind of thing. Like,
Mhm. Yep.
dance with the fear.
Yep. And that first step is hard, that even the motivation to make that, to send that email or that message and commit to doing something about it, that is hard. But once it's done, it'll be like a sigh of relief. Whether you know, whether it is, you know, getting fit or working on your mind or your health, whatever it is in life, whether it's a promotion you want to go for, just sending that first email or taking that first step. It's hard to find the motivation for that, because you're essentially committing to something. But once you've done it, it feels great, and then the motivation will come, and then you'll
Yeah.
feel, yeah.
Definitely. And I've got so many people, right? They'll reach out to me and I'll have a phone call with them and they'll get really upset on the phone.
Mm,
And they're like, oh, I don't know where this came from, but it's because all their emotions are coming, because this is it. They're taking that step, you know,
mm-hmm.
like they're doing the scary bit.
Yeah.
So that's why they tend to sort of like cry and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and get really emotional about it. You
Mm-hmm.
also get some people that will put off having the phone call. So they reach out and then you try the phone call and they go, oh, sorry, can't
Mm-hmm.
make it today. And it's because it's scary. So they're putting it off. They're just putting wee blockers in
Mm-hmm.
their way.
Mm-hmm.
Or they'll come up with a reason of why, no, not now is not the right time.
Yeah.
And they're just, those are the people that aren't ready to just dance with the fear yet, basically.
Yeah, and I think it's change. It's because they know that like, with that, with the getting fit and healthy, and their life's probably going to change for the better. But
Mm-hmm.
we need to kind of come to terms with that as well. It's like, you know, there was a saying, It's not leaving the comfort zone that's scary. It's, you know, what it's the unknown, or it's not the unknown that scares us. It's leaving the known
Yeah.
that's scary.
Mhm.
But yeah, but I think it's always that's good, rather than thinking that's so scary. What about that's so exciting? Like, my life is going to change. Like, that's so exciting. It's
Yeah.
just reframing the narrative, I guess.
Definitely. And like you said earlier, but like we're all defaulted to look in the sort of
Yeah.
negative side of life, and we just need to
Mm,
sort of start looking at the positives.
yeah.
Something I do with all my guys is once a week we talk about our wins. And I say to them every week, I don't care how rubbish a week you think you've had, there is a win there somewhere. And some weeks
Hmm.
you're going to need to dig really deep to find it, but
Yeah.
there's always a win. And I say to them,
Mm-hmm.
if you can't come up with one, I'll come up with one for you, because I'll go through everything, all the conversations we've had throughout the week, all
Mm-hmm.
the data we've collected, and I'll find a win for them. And it's about trying to switch people from just looking at the negative all the time.
Mm-hmm. So for the people who are listening and thinking, right, okay, I am going to take that first step, and they want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Probably my Instagram page.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Coach Nikki Small,
Mm-hmm.
or we've got a website for the gym, which is the Rack Glasgow.
Mm-hmm.
So you can contact us on that as well. Um,
And can people work remotely if they're a bit further afield? They can work remotely with you as well?
yeah, I've got a number of clients. So that's how I started, because I had the other corporate job as well. I started as an online coach
Mm-hmm.
solely. So everyone I worked with, I worked remotely. But I've got technology allows us to do that now. Do
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's so many different ways that we can do that successfully. So I still work with online clients as well as
Amazing.
having the gym, and we've got a lovely community. So although I work with people either online, one-to-one basis, or on like group sessions,
Mm-hmm.
we've got a wee like community for people, and it means they all get to know one another, and it's just a
Mm-hmm.
wee bit soothing, I suppose, because they know there's other people going through similar, you know, because
Yeah.
it's easy for in their eyes, they go, well, it's easy for you because you're a personal trainer and you've done it, but to be in a group with other people that are at the same stage and that
Mm-hmm.
are maybe also finding their way and scared by it, but then they go, oh well, she's doing it too, so if she's doing it, I can do it. You know, it sort of
Yeah.
eggs them on a wee bit.
Yeah, reassuring, and to have that community of people that are on the same journey as you as well, because it can be quite a lonely journey if you're
Yeah.
just doing it. So I'm glad you've got that as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, and I'm sure, obviously, hopefully anyone watching who's where you were back then can see that, you know, you're the example of how you can change your life. You know, it's making those little baby steps into
Definitely.
changing your life. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for sharing that, Nikki, and for sharing your personal journey as well, because I know it will give people hope when they listen. And I
No,
wish
thank you
you
very
all
much.
the best for the future. I wonder if you've got a mindset tool that you want to share. Is there anything you feel that you can share that's helped you in your journey?
There was something I heard it at a corporate event, right? And it was this story you've probably heard of it anyway, but it's because it's a book now, but it's Will It Make the Boat Go Faster?
Right, I
And
haven't heard that.
it was all to do with the British rowing team. They were going to the Sydney Olympics. They had
Mhm.
been losing all of their races,
Mhm.
and they really wanted to win. And they were like, right, we're going to set a goal. We want to win gold at the Sydney Olympics. And they basically said for 2 years, every decision that they made throughout that 2 years, every decision, they had to ask themselves, will it make the boat go faster? If the answer
Mhm.
was yes, they could do it. If the answer was no, then they didn't do it. And that wasn't just in the training, it was in their whole life. So
Mhm.
am I going to go to bed now, or am I going to sit up and watch another 2 episodes on Netflix? And they'd had to go, will it make the boat go faster? You
Mhm.
know? And it was like, well, probably not if I stay up. So
Mhm.
let's go to bed. And something about that just really resonated with me. I tell it to my clients all the time as well, but you've got to live it. If you want a thing, you've got to really encompass it in every aspect of your life. So you've got to
Yeah.
keep saying, is this going to get me to my goal or not? Like, is this going to get me where I want to be? Is it going to make me who I want to be? And if the answer's no, then don't do it.
Yeah. Thanks. I hadn't heard of that. See, it's been intentional with your decisions as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, amazing. And what about for you now? Because obviously you're doing all this work to help other people, and you've come through a lot of challenges and hard times yourself. So, like looking at the future, is there anything you want that's just for you, not work related or business or anything? Is there something personal that you want?
I've got some goals. So I've always said I'm not a runner, right? I've
Mm-hmm.
always said I can't run. But I'm doing a half marathon in October. I've just done a
Wow.
10K. Because I'm proving to myself that I can be whatever I want to be. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm being a runner.
Oh,
Um,
amazing.
so I go out. I've actually got to the stage now where I kind of enjoy the running. It's
Mm-hmm.
taken about a year and a half.
Yeah.
So it's taken a long time. But again, I thought I'm never going to become a runner if I don't run. So
Mm-hmm.
I just need to run.
Yeah.
So I've got that, and I've got a few other personal goals. Like, so this year's been the year of the event for me. I've done quite a lot of fitness challenges and stuff.
Yeah.
I've also went back to my gymnastic roots, and I'm learning how to do handstands and all
Oh,
that good stuff again. Just because I thought that was a skill that I had and I've lost, and I want to get it back.
mm-hmm. Oh, amazing. Good. Well, yeah, I wish you all the best for your half marathon as well. I'll keep an eye out for that. And yeah, I encourage everyone to go and check out Nikki's Instagram page as well because there's lots of tips and motivation on there that will help you on your journey as well.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to Nikki's episode of the Spirit, Mind and Soul podcast. I hope you find some value in there no matter where you are in life. I know for me, she speaks very motivationally, very inspiring. So I hope you got that as well. All information on how you can work with Nikki or have a chat with her are all in the description below. As I said in the episode, I do recommend just going and giving her a follow on Instagram. She does have lots of tips and, again, more motivation, inspiration on there. It's a great place to go and check out her work. If you did enjoy this episode, I'd really love it if you could hit that like button. It just takes a little second and it really does help me grow this channel. If you did enjoy this episode, I'd really love if you could hit that like button. It just takes a second, and any engagement on here really does help this channel grow. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.